Hi. Okay, so for your math this week, we are moving into three-digit subtraction. There's not a lot of difference between three-digit subtraction, two-digit subtraction. If you have a number that you have to borrow from another, then that's where you'll see it. So first we're going to talk about how to solve a problem in the whole. So we have 473 and then 252. Okay, so this one is a subtraction problem. Not too bad. Instead of only having two numbers, you have three. So subtract 2 is 1. 7 subtract 5 is 2. And 2 subtract 4, or 4 subtract 2 is 2. So 221. Okay, that's not too bad. But then sometimes you have a problem where you would have, let's say we had 471 and 264. Okay, we have those two problems. Now we're subtracting. Now the problem is, if you only have one here, you can't subtract. And I'm going to say this to you just like I've said to our class every day. We always start on the right side of our problem. Always, 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 always at the ones. Never start over here, because you will have a problem if you have to do something like we're doing. Okay, so for 1 subtract 4, you can't do it. 1 subtract 4, you would have to borrow from your tens place. So we're going to make this one a 6, and then we're going to change this and make this 11. Okay, so now we have 11 subtract 4, and we can do that pretty easily. 11 subtract 4 is 7, and then you have 6 subtract 6, which is 0, and then 4 subtract 2, which is 2. So 207. Do you see? So even though we had all of that, we had to borrow in order to make our subtraction problem, because you can't just take, if you only have one candy and I want 4 candies, you can't give me any candy. Oh, you can give me 4. You can only give me 1. So you have to borrow from somewhere else in order to have enough, right? Okay, so then this one says rounding to each number. So let's just say we have these two numbers. We have 100 on a number line. I'm going to draw our little number line really quickly, and it's 100, 200, 300, 400. Okay, and then we have, it cut off my line. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so let's say we have these two places on our number line here that are over here. And we have 120 on one side, and we have 370 on the other side, okay? 120 and 370. Do you see that? Now, I think that they made this pretty obvious, but is 120 closer to 100 or 200? I hope you said 100, right? So we would say it's closer to 100. And then 370, is that closer to 300 or 400? And that would be closer to 400. So if we wanted to figure out what the difference between those were, and we were rounding, we could say 400 subtract 100 equals, right? 400 subtract 100 equals. So that would be 300. Okay, so what you're doing is you are rounding to get yourself an estimate, not an exact number. We're not asking for the most exact, but you're going to use your number line to estimate. And so that's the problem that you would write. So you have this, and you would change it to writing 400 subtract 100. And we always do the larger number, because you can't subtract from a smaller number. It's not possible. You can do it. There's negative numbers a long time away, but you're not there yet. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show you is if we are going to rename 100s. Okay. So here's this one. Let's just say we have 624 and 341. Okay. Again, we're always, always, always starting on the right hand in the one side. Okay. 4 subtract 1 is 3. 2 subtract 4. Well, I can't do that because I only have 2 on top. And so I need to borrow from the 6. I'm going to make it a 5. And then I'm just going to change this one to a 12. Do you see that? So 12 subtract 4 now. 12 subtract 4 is 8, and 5 subtract 3 is 2. So 283 is your answer. Okay? It's not any different than where you were doing when you were adding or subtracting from the tens. There's no difference to what you were doing. So don't get yourself all worked up about borrowing from the hundreds, because it's not going to change anything. There are some tricky problems. I don't know if they have any of these on there, but I'm going to show you. Let me see. Let me look really quick. It doesn't look like they have any on this one, but there are some tricky problems. Like if you had like 400 subtract 196, you would have to borrow all the way from the hundreds and change everything. But it doesn't look, I think that may be an older kid lesson. All right. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to check your addition with your subtraction. So if we have 834, subtract 572. All right. 4 subtract 2 is 2. Oh, I can't take 3 from 7, or 7 from 3, so I have to borrow. So I'm going to make this one a 7. I'm going to change this to a 13. That makes this 6, and that makes this 2. Now, to check it, I'm going to take my bottom number and I'm going to put it up here, 262. And then I'm going to add it to this one right here that I subtracted from, 572. And then I'm going to add them together. So I've got 4, 3, 1, and 8. 834 here, 834 there. I did it right. Okay, that's one of the problems you're going to do. Make sure you're listening closely to the problems and reading closely to make sure that you are not adding or subtracting numbers that are, or you're not adding when you're supposed to be subtracting, or subtracting when you're supposed to be adding. Okay, my class is back now, so I will talk to you